Merry Christmas everyone, it's Boxing Day, welcome back to the channel. Sir Jim Ratcliffe 25% was announced on Christmas Eve the 24th, 4 PM UK time. Why did the Manchester United PLC do that? Let's find out. Does this change anything within the finances of the club? Let's find out. Do you celebrate that this is the right direction for the club? We don't.
I thought I'd put on a bit of festive music. Hilariously, I'm opening a Blue Moon. Terrible club, lovely beer. Because if you're going to tell me that the Christmas present that I'm getting after an absolutely crap 2023 is finding out that the Glazers will not have their dirty, greasy, greedy mitts on the football operations of my football club anymore, then you are damn right that I'm going to celebrate that.
Sam, but the Glazers are still there calling the shot. What is it to celebrate? Will anything change?
Basically, this is not a pathway to full ownership of Manchester United. The usual Glazer sympathisers, mouthpieces on social media, we know who they are, they're championing this as some sort of Christmas present. If this is some sort of Christmas present, why is it being put out there at 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve when it cannot be scrutinised by most of the world's footballing media, because most of the footballing media, like me and like you, are tucking into a few drinks and relaxing for Christmas? This is being done on purpose at this time because they don't want the scrutiny you would get in the international break or you would get everywhere else. I keep an open mind on this deal, but ultimately there are some things that I always said I will call out when I don't like them, and I will call out if I do like them. The problem with this deal for me, and a big shout out to Ben Jacobs, who's been talking to me all afternoon, and he said to me about an hour ago, he said, I've had it from a very good source that this is not a pathway to full ownership. And I've always said I wanted a full sale and I wanted the Glazers out, and this does not represent that. However, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos connections will take control of the men's, youth and footballing side of things. They'll have exclusive control of that with their 25%. But the Glazers remain the owners of Manchester United, and there is no obligation for a full sale to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. There is nothing in the contract that obligates them or forces them to sell it. So that for me is the big statement here.
Look, this is why Realist TV exists. A balanced approach. We got to look at every single opinion. We got to weigh it up. But what's the purpose of protesting for 18 years against the Glazers? To be fooled and ridiculed, and to celebrate an up to 25% investment. And Glazers are still here. What has changed? According to our opinion, nothing. Let's find out, because yesterday we did a fan cam reaction. We spoke to Tom journalists. It was me, myself, and also Jarvis Cocker. Stick around and leave your comments after the video. What is your thoughts and feelings? Is this a pathway to the right direction? For me, it's not. We want Glazers out 100% full sale only. The proof will be in the pudding. Enjoy the show. See, with the new potential takeover, it wasn't, I mean, it was just a scandal to release it on Christmas Eve, but it wasn't really 100% guarantee when you read the whole overall statement, Tom. He said he's set to acquire, but he hasn't acquired because there was some also borrowing on the approval of minority stakeholders and Premier League fitness and proper test and New York Stock Exchange. So he's not written in stone. It was just an announcement by the club, right? But I would say, like, fuck you, Manchester United, for doing that on a Christmas Eve, because basically they did that so nobody could criticize them. And borrowing on the loss that we came off a loss for 2-0, like we got battered 2-0 against Aston Villa, they released this on purpose because they knew that nobody would be able to criticize them over Christmas period. What's your thoughts and opinions regarding that?
Well, first of all, I'll change the word. It's not a takeover; it's an investment. Let's face facts, because there isn't any significant change. The same people still own our football club, so it's not a takeover.
Yep.
That's the one thing that I'd say from the whole thing. And this theory that somebody's coming in with 25%, he's not even bought 25%, guys. He's bought 17% of controlling vote shares, which do absolutely sod all. and then he's got an agreement in place. We don't know how tight this agreement is, by the way, to say that he's going to have control of football operations. So Jim's coming to fix it, lads. Basically, he's going to get his Bob the Builder hat on. He's going to come on top of the roof. He's going to fix it. The one thing that I'll say about all this anyway, and I said this before on Nuruddin's channel a couple of weeks ago, if this deal goes through and he doesn't have an exit clause to buy them out, he might be dead before these guys even get any money from him. And I said it previously anyway before. The Glazers will outlive Sir Jim.
They will. He's 71 years of age.
Now. They've got money here and now. They've got investment coming in. They've got a fall guy that they can now fall back on and say, well, you can't blame us anymore. We don't control the football operations. We're the money men. We're doing brilliant on the commercial side. And let's be honest, guys, commercially, Manchester United have been a success for years. They have been. That's where the focus has always been. It's not been football.
Yeah.
So if Sir Jim, it can go one of two ways. If Sir Jim's going to be the Lord and Saviour, he's going to come in with his boys and he's going to make United successful again. Or it's going to crash and burn, and then the blame's all going to be on Sir Jim, because that's what all of us care about, the football. We can give a shite about who our shirt sponsor is or whatever. We just care about if we're going to win on a Saturday or a Sunday. That's what we care about. So,
but listen, Mark makes a very good comment, because it took me 24 hours to dissect and read through everything. And it's an investment with money. You know, you cannot really put money directly into the club. So the 300 pledge was for future buying shares. At the end of the day, it was just agreement for him to buy into the Class B shares, which is the Glazers shares. Doesn't give him bloody all. And then if you read at the very end, depending on approval from the minority stakeholders and Premier League fitness and fitnesses, this can still be voted down. For me, it was just more of an announcement to say that we have come to agreement to let him buy some shares. That's it, right? It's
Can I just add to that? Can I just add to that as well, Mick? Anyway, this 17% that he's buying of the Class B shares, there's a certain clause and an agreement that the Glazer family had when they put Manchester United on the New York Stock Exchange, and that was any shareholder that they sell shares to. Joel and Avram have sold a couple of shares over the years. When they sell shares to individuals, either privately, as individuals, and collectively now they're doing it as a family, when they sell the shares out to an individual that doesn't have the surname Glazer, those Class B shares translate to Class A shares.
Yes,
so
exactly.
effectively, he has no controlling power or voting rights in Manchester United. So what he's buying off the Glazers might be Class B shares, but as soon as he buys them, they change anyway. So he's got 25% of Class A shares, but the only difference is he's been given the wheel to run the football. That's it.
That's it. He's been outsourcing and giving, like, here you go, run our operations and we see how we go. Listen, one thing that I was looking for was, okay, once this has been announced or whatever, if there is a clause, a road path for 100% buyout, which is not, because here's the trapdoor, right? What I understood, that means that anyone can now come in and buy more Class B shares. It's open market, right? What he did is just, they can, because they haven't promised any exclusivity whatsoever. And I just don't understand how, maybe you just wanted to invest to be part of a Premier League club, because he said in an interview before, like if you go back 1 year, he said, me, Bob, Job, and all this. So we always had a dream to own a Premier League club. And that's all they wanted to do, right? So this is to get one foot on the door, but the Glazers screwed them over as well, I would say, because they didn't give them exclusivity. Come June 2024, they might be still open. This is not probably the financial review is not probably open. Somebody can come in and buy the remaining of Class B and Class A, and he can still be a minority investor, because this is an investment, right? You hold a certain percentage share, right? I'm not drumming on Qatar and it means the Saudi can come in, UAE or whatever can come in and just buy the rest.
The only difference with that, Mick, is the only thing that he has in place with the family, well, supposedly in the contract, is the day that they want to sell any more of their shares, he gets first refusal. That's it. So if they want to sell 1% of their shares or the whole lot, they go to Sir Jim first and say, here's our price. That's what you can buy us out for. Do you want to do it or not? And if he says, no, I don't want to pay that price, they can just flutter their shares to whoever they want. That could be Qatar. Listen, we never know on this channel.
Yeah.
We might get the
We never
revenues
know.
to go and buy Manchester United. You never know. And we could outdo
Yes, give us more super chats and we will buy
There you go.
Manchester United.
Yeah, but Jim has first refusal. Yes, first refusal.
He has first refusal on the offer. But if he doesn't agree a price with them for those other shares, what does that even make? It doesn't. And with how long
if it's a first refusal, like let's say if you come up to, I will come in and I buy $40 per share, he cannot match it. That's the thing.
No, he can't.
No, he can't.
He can't match it. Because the only way that he can match it is if Ineos got involved. But he's got to get all his shareholders within Ineos to back him to do it. For which a couple of them are going to look at it and think, hang on a minute, we're going to lose money as a business, and I might not even be a football man. What's the point in doing that? The only way that this will ever work with Sir Jim Ratcliffe at Manchester United is if he's the majority owner. That's the only way this will ever work.
Okay, if we're talking now, the opening statement, they made a very sure PR way to say he's a boyhood Manchester United fan looking to invest, yada, yada, yada. But if you are a fucking boyhood Manchester United fan, you just shot yourself in the foot, because majority of the Manchester United fan base don't want the Glazers in. So you just enable them to stay another couple of years. So basically, Glazers bought themselves a little bit time. Tell me where this money's coming. Where is this going to? It ain't going to the club whatsoever. You're not allowed to pump in your 300 million into anything. So we're still in the same situation.
717 million pounds straight into the Glazer siblings' pockets.
So we're still back.
717 million. That's a lot of money.
But we are still
stealing a living.
Yeah, but we are still stuck at the same ground zero where we started today. Even if this is announced, nothing has changed.
Jarvis Smith, that what you just said there, 770 million. They broke even as a family.
Yeah,
that's the money that they used 700 million pounds of debt to buy Manchester United and loaded it on our football club. But the difference is 700 million pounds still on Manchester United, but they've just got 700 million pounds and they put it in their own pocket. This is what I'm saying about. This is what I'm saying about. So anything that they sell from now on, after this deal's done and completed, guys, they're making a profit. That's where their gains come from. But the only thing with Sir Jim is, how can you influence football operations when you can't influence what a shirt sponsor deal is going to be? So you can't influence how much money United will make. You can't,
because the money is with the commercial.
This is what I'm saying, Mick. And this is why I'm saying him coming in with his boys, what difference is it going to make when they're going to be gagged by not having any finances to do anything with? Unless...
How are you going to make return on investment unless you go into the Super League?
Unless you go into the Super League, or unless Sir Jim's going to get his magic wallet out and buy the rest of the shares for whatever price they want. That's why, unless he was coming in as the majority owner and they was going to be the minority stakeholder and have nothing to do with the football club, as a lot of us thought that is how he was going down it, and he was going to buy 50% of it, so then they would drop down to 20. But the problem is, overall with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it's just PR. And it's shite, guys. Let's be honest. Yeah. Jarvis, I said to you yesterday when you read the statement out, there was one word, and I forgot it again. There was one word in that statement, and it absolutely alienated me. I can't remember what the word was now, and it was almost as if it might go to Manchester United, but it might not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, one word can define how you interpret something. Like $300 million is going to go into Manchester United infrastructure. Potentially, you might as well just put the word potentially, because it doesn't mean that it's going to. It's not a fact.
It's just basically Glazers. Nobody wanted to loan out money to the Glazers because they're broke motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They sorry for swearing. So Uncle Jim comes in there. Here, I give you some money, but you got to give me some shares in return, right? So that's what it is, mate.
And then he has the audacity to use a company registered in the Isle of Man. For anybody who knows where that are, another tax-free haven, the Isle of Man, which supposedly has a link named to an Eric Cantona quote, but also it's debt-free. I'm not surprised it's debt-free. He doesn't have to pay any taxes, guys. But it's Sir Jim, he's the local boy, isn't he? He's the guy who wants fracking He wants the fracking rights. He wants to ruin the environment and
True that.
communities around the world. That's Sir Jim Ratcliffe for you guys. Tax
Big up.
evading dodger in Monaco.
Okay, listen. I got one issue, and I was, I couldn't sleep yesterday. I was looking around different fan channels, and I do respect. I got to give it to Mark Goldbridge. Sometimes I don't agree, sometimes I agree, but he called it out perfectly fine. He said it right. This doesn't change anything, right? There was one thing that he was looking for, and it was say if there is a path for full buyout, which there wasn't. Now he's totally against it. Then on the other hand, I saw another. I'm not going to mention name. Cracking up a beer and celebrating for this 25%, and that's like an open admitting that he never wanted this state back money anyway. Mate, so basically what you're celebrating for if the Glaze is still there, so what it doesn't mean all this 18 years of protesting and suffering and looting of the Glaze, and they still sit there because Jim enabled them to do so. But on the other hand, I'm going to spin another spanner in the wheel here to say it's normal practice when you have an mergers and acquisition or takeover that you have somebody investing a minority stake in the winning bid. I always say that. So that means that Glazers might have sold a little bit of a share percentage, but the winning bid might be somebody coming in later on to buy the rest, because they always wanted like 10 billion at the end of the day. So you put 1 point whatever, you have somebody invested a minority in there, and then somebody comes in and owns 80%, whatever, or 78%. It is plausible. It happened before. So we might have seen a small fractional investment, which is say we're not going to give you exclusivity. So they open the door for another. Let's say Man Utd Holding Foundation might come back in later on, right? But there will still be the minority investors that buy Glazers out, and you still have Ineos to hold a fraction of the Class B shares, right? And then they can form their own board and whatever they want. And have
the
one or
word
two
was
seats.
intended that Tom was looking for. So
Oh,
Jim
there
will
you go.
provide
Sorry, yeah,
a 300 million fund intended to enable future investment into the club's infrastructure at Old Trafford. So it's intended.
So
they
it
have
might
an
happen.
intention, maybe.
They have an intention. Oh, he's a local boy. Sir Jim Ratcliffe from Failsworth. Oh, the guy who's a multi-billionaire but doesn't live in the UK because he don't want to pay taxes. The guy who has all these registered companies in Monaco, in the Isle of Man, tax-free haven.
But
Cayman
you know what
Islands.
is dodgy for me, right, guys? What is dodgy for me? They were rushing to get this announcement statement through the club as before Christmas. They were rushing through because we got pelters over Aston Villa. They're trying to stop the protest that's going to, potentially take place over Boxing Day. They needed to put something out. But if you read the overall statement, he doesn't say that he has acquired. He's attempted to acquire, barring that certain things needs to be aligned. But the Glazers had agreed that you can do that on $33 per share, right? And you can buy up to 25% on the Class A shares. Read it carefully. It doesn't really say it's 100% secure. It's just an announcement. That's what it is. It's not a purchase agreement.
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked that up, but anyway. So this could be voted down
from the
again.
club. It is.
But it can fall through. It can fall through.
Yeah, well,
it can fall through.
That will be stock manipulation in a way because it's a listed company. So they have to be careful when if the club.
But where is the protest? If fans don't want this, where is the protest been organized
Guys,
for Boxing Day?
I'm gonna say it for what it is with Sir Jim. I don't trust the guy. I think he's a snake. I think the way that he come into this process saying he's a local boy, he's gonna put the Manchester back into Manchester United, buy 69%. He bottled it because he didn't want to pay the big bucks to buy it. Then as soon as he's realised that he can cut a deal with the family, he's done it. He's going to bring in Jean-Claude Blanc, fair enough, a respectable guy within football. I can get behind that as an appointment and an individual. If he gets rein to do what he wants to do. He's going to bring in Dodgy Dave from cycling, in Dave Brosford, who, if anybody knows the stories around the inhalers, there you go. Jarvis has just done the initiation for you there. Anybody knows the story around the inhalers and the cheating and corruption that gone on within Ineos Grenadiers and Team Sky at the time, when he was in control of that, we'll know about Dodgy Dave. So at the end of the day, guys, he's going to bring in sports experts. Sports experts is completely different to football experts. Dave Brailsford knows how to get on a bike and pedal. He doesn't know how to steer a wheel of a football club at the size of United. and he's made a pig's ear of it for 3-4 years at fucking Nice. So
Jean
don't tell
Blanc.
me.
Jean
Don't
Blanc
tell
is more
me
on the
that this
commercial
guy,
side, marketing.
exactly.
So he's good for
He's a
the
marketing
commercial.
guy, Mick. He's a marketing guy. He's not going to be a football hands-on operator. So you're getting Dodgy Dave, who knows how to pedal a bike, to try and run the biggest football club in the world. And people want to sit here and tell me that he's going to make a change and he's going to do things differently. It's not going to happen unless I see proper football people, like a sporting director. And I'm not here for this shite around a person who's been at Crystal Palace for 2 years. I want someone proper. I want a proper, renowned person out there who's got contacts, who's got a meaningful name in football. A Mitchell, an Ashworth, somebody who's got some zing to it.
Exactly.
Who's actually done something as a football director, not recruit from within. John Murto, bang, here we go. It's not going to happen. So Dodgy Dave, if you think Dodgy Dave and Sir Jim with 17% of Class B shares is going to come in and solve all our problems, then mate, hold tight.
Dodgy Dave.
Yeah.
Big up chat as well, going mental. They're reacting to your speech. They say, preach, Dodgy Dave, 100%. Guys, it's just like, they destroyed a Christmas by this, but it left you thinking, like, when you dissect everything, it's what Jolly Mommy said, we don't really know anything. We need more clarity of it. But so far, it's just been, it left the door open for a lot of questions, but then it's not really 100% completed or being signed off as of yet. So yeah, anything can be happening. It could be voted down from the minority investors as well. If you read the statement as well, they are doing this because they are like, they put the statement is because they don't want to be challenged by minority investors. So maybe they will wake up after the Boxing Day where everyone is back and put a challenge. We don't know. Anything can happen, right? Read the first line from the statement. It's exactly what I said, Gas. The first line of the announcement. It was something like, he hasn't come to agreement, but he tend to buy something like that. Can't really remember. I will read the first statement. Anyway, we're here to do the score prediction, guys. Anyway,
it's only acquired up to 25%. So it doesn't say it will buy 25%, but it's up to 20%. The first line is Manchester United PLC reaches agreement for Jim Ratcliffe, chairman of INEOS, to acquire up to a 25% shareholding.
They give him the permission to acquire.
Yeah.
But
I just want to say something that Tom mentioned about Class A and Class B shares. If someone else with not the surname Glazers buys the shares, I read an article from The Athletic earlier this year, and they talked about this subject, and this is just The Athletic, it's not my words, but they said here, if you can read it, thank you Athletic for letting me share this. They say in the fine print of documents related to United shares, it states affiliates of holders of Class B shares are accepted from the automatic conversion to Class A. So basically it's about what you define as affiliates. So it's not saying you have to be a Glazer, but you have to be an affiliate.
But if they don't have to give him it, Jarvis, if they don't have to give Jim Class B shares, they're not going to. Why would you give a guy voting power because the argument that they would say is, why are we going to give you voting power when you have football power? That's the argument that you would probably say to that. But even with the conversions, guys, listen, we can sit here and say you can convert them from Class B to Class A. The Glazers are still here. So nothing changes, guys.
Exactly.
Nothing changes. So
Can I just say? Listen, this is classic. All that just did on the eve of Christmas to divide you and conquer. To say this is because I see a lot of people say, "Well, it's not so bad. We get sporting director, we get a recruitment director, we get a new CEO, right?" But they keep forgetting that's what they're doing on purpose on the marketing perspective. So and releasing this announcement, so you will still forget that. Hang on a second, who's still at the back seat, right? They don't want any protesters, but when people sober up and see what it is, like they call it for what it is, they're not going to be happy, right? Because people don't want to be bothered of the Christmas. But once you sober up and you actually read the whole statement, you will go, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is not. So You understand what I'm trying to say? It's similar what happens. They feed you this. Oh, we give you this latest striker. We give you this, and people get giddy to buy the shirts. The same thing here. They're trying to feed you like he's going to take care of the sporting. Everything's going to be better. But then you're saying, hang on a second. What money? We're still stuck with debt. We're still stuck with this. We what money is he going to invest in? Because the commercial side is the one that makes money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it was getting a loan from Uncle Jimmy there to say, look, because the banks don't want to give him any more loans. They maxed out all the credit cards and all the facilities. So it's basically Jim's giving them some money to have 2 seats on the board, and that's about it.
Yeah, 2 seats on the board, and
with no pathway to buy the remaining of the club. So that means that they left it open for anyone to come in and purchase for what they set a precedent here right now for $33 per share. The next you will see that somebody will buy it for 38 or 40 fair price, because they already set that line 33. They made sure the 33 is the bottom line. You cannot buy now the remaining of shares below 33. You got to match the bid over that. So it's a clever thing, right?
Yeah, and then if it comes to voting power, Nick, and somebody else comes in and buys the rest of them shares, well, suddenly they've got more than Sir Jim has. Even if they dilute back to Class A shares, they've got more than Sir Jim, so they control the business. And if that person don't want to work with Sir Jim, bye-bye. I'll buy you out. But I can buy you out for whatever price I decide, because I'm the majority owner.
They fooled us all. They fooled us all 100%. They fooled everyone. What was the point of doing the shadow bidding process in the first place and then appointing Rainy Group? Unless there's something more surprise coming, which we don't know.
We know what it is. You know what it is. What happened on Thursday, Mick? What happened on Thursday?
Super League. It was
and
I was out here on Monday talking about Super League, and then Thursday came and everyone was talking about
Super League.
Super League.
On the Super League, so because of they can't have a monopoly, Super League is on. And 3 days after, we've been waiting for this for over 12 months. But 3 days after the Super League
ruling, who is the champion of the Super League behind the scenes? Joel Glazer.
On Christmas Eve, Jim Ratcliffe is investing 25% into Man United. We know what's going to happen.
Guys, this had to come out. Like, we have to, ease the chest. Maybe this is a podcast for another time. This is the aftermath when you sober up after the Christmas celebration. We did a little bit podcast. This is the fan reaction. This is not our news. This is our feelings. So we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts and feelings after this video. This it. Just enjoy life to the fullest. Take care of yourself. Be beautiful. Stay nice to each other. And I shall see you to the next video. You know what? Glazers out, bankers out, glory, glory, Manchester United. Don't ever fucking fall out. Alright, cheers, guys. See you later. Bye for now. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.